Engineered into existence yet discarded by design, humans were nothing more than expendable assets to the Galactic Federation. Built to be efficient, cheap, and endlessly reproducible, they had once been the perfect soldiers for interstellar wars. But as power shifted with politics, the tides changed. Influential voices rose, insisting the humans were more than tools. An animal rights coalition argued they were sentient, deserving rights. Against all odds, they won. The decree passed through. The Federation Council was absolute. Humanity was to be abandoned, exiled to their reservation world Earth, and erased from memory. Centuries slipped by. The vast human breeding complexes stood silent, their function forgotten by nearly all. Hidden light years away from the nearest settled system, Earth remained a containment pen for what was left of a species forged for war. Commander Talon of the Avon, a winged race from the Orion Cluster, had been assigned Earth's millennial survey. Once every 1,000 years, a brief inspection was conducted measuring humanity's progress, cataloging cultural shifts, and ensuring the species remained contained. Past visits revealed variety. Empires rising with monumental cities, tribes roaming the wilderness, civilizations flourishing and collapsing. Humanity had proven endlessly adaptive. Yet this time, anomalies surfaced. As Talon's vessel neared the system, his scanners caught an odd signal, a metallic construct drifting at the system's edge. A satellite, he murmured in disbelief. Its faint transmission was crude, but undeniably artificial. Then more alerts. Planetary scans showed heightened traces of radioactive isotopes in Earth's atmosphere. Nuclear war? Talon wondered grimly. But a deeper sweep revealed something else entirely: streams of radio chatter flooding the globe, constant and strong. Humanity had survived. Logging the data for Federation archives, Talon brought his ship in closer. What awaited him in orbit was startling. Earth was girdled by satellites, and a compact but advanced station turned slowly among them. He was still marveling at the sight, rushing to finalize his report, when a sudden impact rattled his craft. Sirens shrieked. The display flashed warnings. Small vessels had surrounded him, sleek, maneuverable, weapons primed and locked onto his hull. A transmission pierced the comms, harsh and commanding. "Unidentified vessel, state your purpose." Talon froze. This was no fractured, forgotten race. This was humanity organized, armed, and unwilling to tolerate intruders. Once forsaken by design, they had endured, adapted, and now stood demanding explanations. And Commander Talon, unprepared, had just become their captive audience. Commander Talon's vessel, once a Federation marvel of precision and design, now drifted powerless in Earth's orbit, ensnared by a pack of swift, coordinated human craft. The voice that broke across his comms carried the weight of decades in command. But what unsettled Talon wasn't the display of strength. It was the clarity, the deliberate authority. These humans knew exactly what they were doing. Before he could craft a reply, he hurriedly compiled the unfinished survey logs, flagging them as urgent, and hurled the transmission across the stars toward Federation command. Somewhere, a superior officer was about to be very displeased. His pulse quickened. Direct contact was a risk. His avian form would no doubt deepen their suspicions. Somewhere in the back of his mind, Academy lectures on first contact surfaced. Something about myths, faiths, and how species interpreted visitors. Fragments of past visits flickered in memory, humans revering celestial beings. Perhaps playing into that image might grant him time, maybe even leverage. After all, wasn't he, in a sense, here to watch over them? As Earth's vessels began tugging his ship toward an orbital station, Talon steadied himself. Clearing his throat, he opened the channel, projecting his deepest, most commanding tone. "People of Earth, I come bearing a message from the Celestial Federation, guardians among the stars. I seek parley with your leaders, for much has changed, you must hear." Silence stretched, taut and heavy, until at last another voice answered, older. tempered by years of command. You speak our tongue well. Curious. We'll bring you aboard Helios Station. Prepare for docking. Then we talk. Talon let out a breath, feathers easing. He had earned their attention without betraying his hand. Ahead, the human station drew closer, a gleaming construct of steel and light, reflecting the burn of their sun. His vessel was eased into a docking bay, and Talon couldn't help but gape at how far the humans had come. The last files had them barely mastering steam. Now orbital yards and precision welds gleamed like testimony to decades of furious advancement. He squared his uniform pristine, ceremonial, and braced for what came next. He was about to stand before the leaders of a race once engineered for war, and now evidently masters of their own fate. Whatever happened, Talon hoped his role as a celestial emissary would bridge the gulf between them. He glanced once more at the console. The report had transmitted. Federation command would be informed, but for the moment he was alone. The metallic doors sighed open, and the station's clean corridors swallowed him. Waiting at the threshold was a small delegation. At the front stood a hard-faced man, silver hair, a map of lines carved into his face, eyes that had measured danger and lived through it. "Welcome to Genesis Station," the Admiral said, stepping forward with a human gesture Talon had been taught in briefing, an outstretched hand. Talon set aside the practiced handshake. Instead, he unfurled his wingspan in a show of theater, projecting the gravitas he'd rehearsed. In a lowered, sonorous tone he intoned, "Behold, I am the watcher from the celestial realms, the keeper of hidden things." Admiral Lansing's brow tightened, then softened with something like recognition. "You resemble the ibis-headed deity of our old myths," he observed. Talon, trying to steady the facade, leaned into it. "I have watched humanity from the heavens. I return now at this turning point to witness, to guide, perhaps to intervene." A murmur moved through the delegation. Lansing stayed cautious but curious. "Why appear now?" he asked, relying on the fragments of lore and protocol he memorized. Talon answered, "Humanity stands on the cusp of a new epoch. The Federation returns to observe your passage." Lansing led him to a private chamber. Screens lined the walls, images of Earth through the ages, pyramids, ancient ruins, then grainy clips of unidentified craft. He tapped the still of a saucer-like object. "We've had sightings, encounters, abductions. Are these your doing?" Talon felt the ruse teeter. He chose carefully. "Not all," he admitted, "but some. The Federation has intervened, rarely, and mostly to observe." Lansing leaned back, intrigued. "So it's not a lone god but a whole Federation watching us?" Talon steadied his voice. "Periodic check-ins to monitor your evolution. The Federation does not interfere, merely observes." The Admiral's eyes narrowed, the old questions of myth and control rising between them. "Abductions, experiments, unintentional consequences." Talon admitted sometimes things went awry, but never with malevolent intent. "Your English is impeccable." Lansing marked a hint of amusement in his eyes, almost native how Talon tilted his head slightly. "Before missions like this, we're given a neural download of Earth languages. Your English is among them. Aids in understanding transmissions and communications." Lansing seemed to process this. "You're not here just as a benevolent god. You have an agenda. What is it?" Talon sighed. The weight of deception was becoming burdensome to observe, to report. But now with Earth's advancements, dynamics might change. Admiral Lansing nodded slowly. "You've given Uzmek to ponder, or is there another name you go by in this Galactic Federation of yours?" Talon looked taken aback, his aven eyes betraying his surprise. "How did you know? Did you really think?" Lansing chuckled. "That posing as an ancient god would go unnoticed or unchallenged we've dreamt of. The stars of beings from the great beyond, and while the myths have given us a foundation, our quest for knowledge has never wavered." Talon inclined his head, acknowledging the Admiral's astuteness. "What now?" Lansing's eyes twinkled. "Now we talk truly. Talk. Humanity is ready to join the larger cosmos, and you, Commander, will be our first contact." As the two continued, Their conversation, it was evident that Earth's place in the galaxy was about to shift. Dramatically, the era of observation was over. The age of collaboration had dawned, forgotten by design. Part 4. The chamber's atmosphere was thick with anticipation. Admiral Lansing's eyes were locked onto Talon, demanding truth, while the surrounding officers braced themselves for whatever revelation was to come. Talon exhaled deeply. Earth's story isn't one of natural evolution, but of design intention, Lansing's brow furrowed. Explained before the war. With the Kriller, Talon began. Humans as you know them. Didn't it exist? A scientist in the Federation, Dr. Leon, took a keen interest in a primate species from one of our planets, saw potential in them, potential that could be refined and enhanced. The room was silent. Every urchin to Talon's words, using advanced genetic manipulation. Dr. Leon elongated T of responsibility clear in his eyes. As for ongoing relations, Philia Gesturetta words. Talon, who stood tall and proud, Talon will serve as Earth's ambassador to the Federation, ensuring a permanent line of communication and understanding between our peoples. Applause broke out, a sound of unity and hope. But beyond the pomp and circumstance, preparations were already underway. Lansing, with a select committee, would decide on the delegation to represent Earth. There were scientists, diplomats, artists, and thinkers to consider. In the days that followed, excitement was palpable. Humanity was about to get a first-hand look at the galaxy, to interact with civilizations older than their wildest imaginations. Stories would be exchanged, relationships forged, and perhaps new horizons of understanding would emerge amidst the preparations. Admiral Laning found a rare moment of solitude on the balcony of the United Nations building. He gazed upwards. The vast expanse of the night sky stretched before him, dotted with twinkling stars. Each one of those celestial points held the promise of undiscovered worlds and civilizations. A few weeks ago, he was a man with a routine, overseeing operations on the Genesis space station, the pinnacle of human space exploration. And now destiny had fastened to a journey to the heart of the Galactic Federation. A sense of wonder and disbelief gripped him. It felt like a dream, and he half expected to wake up to the familiar hum of the space station. But the cool night air and distant city sounds anchored him to the reality of the moment. His path had changed, and the universe had become both more vast and more accessible than he could have ever imagined. However, not all shared the joy and anticipation as Admiral Lansing and his chosen delegates readied themselves for the interstellar journey. A shadowy figure observed from a distance, hidden in the alleyways. The figure watched, a device in hand that blinked ominously, whether driven by fear, distrust, or a darker motive. A storm was brewing, threatening to disrupt humanity's first steps into the wider galaxy. In the depths of the night, whispers spread about a potential threat to the mission. Security protocols were heightened, and the world held its breath, hoping that the dream of a united Earth reaching for the stars would not be shattered before it could truly begin. Forgotten by design. Part 11. Departure. The massive doors off Federation ship sealed behind them with a gentle hiss. Admiral Lansing, leading the selected human ambassadors, took a moment to adjust to the ambient light of the ship's interior, a serene blend of soft blues and purples. Thefler, beneath them, hummed a gentle vibration, indicating the ship was preparing for departure. Welcome aboard. Star-bearer Talon greeted, his voice echoing slightly inside the expansive entrance chamber. This will be your home for the next few days as we journey to the Galactic Federation's core. Lansing took in the expanse of the ship from its high-ved ceilings, adorned with alien hieroglyphs to its sleek interfaces glowing with unreadable text. It's incredible, he whispered, a sentimenticode. By murmurs of agreement from the human delegates behind him, as the ship started moving, a window display opened up to the star-filled vastness of space. The stars ahead began to shimmer and pulse, their light growing brighter and then dimming in a rhythmic pattern. Suddenly the ship surged forward, stars blurring into continuous streaks of luminescence. We're engaging our FTL drive, Talon explained, noting the human surprise. It stands for faster than light, even with our advanced technology. Traversing the vast distances off the OS demands such propulsion systems. Without it, journeys like ours would take lifetimes. The sensation was unlike anything Lansing had ever experienced a combination of vertigo and exhilaration, but as quickly as it began, the feeling tapered off and the stars ceased their high-speed streaking. In the distance, a colossal cosmic nebula slowly moved past Lansing, stared in disbelief at the speed they were traveling. As the journey continued, Talon took on the role of educator. Detailing the Federation's vast history, which spanned millennia, he spoke of ancient interstellar wars alliances, forged and broken, and the unending quest for knowledge and understanding. He spoke of cultures that communicated through song, species that lived in gas giants, and civilization that had achieved true unity. It's a complex web, the Federation. While we strive for peace, there are disagreements, politics, ICS, and struggles for power and influence. Talon elaborated. Dr. Helena, one of the human ambassadors, and a historian by profession, was eager to know more. How did the Federation manage to keep such a vast expanse of different species united? She inquired. Talon's eyes dimmed thoughtfully. Balance. The Federation's primary principle is balance, recognizing the importance and value of each member species, and ensuring their voices are heard. It's not perfect, but it's what has kept us together as days turned into nights. Though without a sun, the concept became abstract. The human ambassadors gathered frequently, discussing among themselves. Some were in awe, others overwhelmed, but all felt the weight of their mission. They shared stories of their families, their homes, and their dreams for the future. In one such gathering, Lansing sat with a younger delegate, Maria, who was a celebrated physicist. "Did you ever think," she began, her voice quivering with a mix of excitement and nervousness, "that we'd be here?" Admiral, crossing the stars. Lansing smiled, looking out at the vast expanse of the universe stretching before them. "No, I didn't. But that's the beauty of life, isn't it? The unpredictability. We're here, and we're going to make the most of it." Throughout the journey, it was evident that the bond between Talon and Lansing had deepened. They were frequently seen in deep conversation, with Talon sharing more about his life and experiences, and Lansing discussing Earth's challenges and triumphs. The trip was not just a physical journey across the galaxy, but a profound journey of understanding and growth for the human delegates. As the Federation Corp neared, they felt a collective mix of anticipation and responsibility, ready to present humanity in this new chapter of its existence. An audience with the galaxy. The gentle hum of the ship intensified slightly as they entered the star system, heralding their approach to the Galactic Federation's capital. Admiral Lansing and the human ambassadors gathered by the viewing port, eager to take in their first sight of this interstellar hub. As they neared the system's center, a flotilla of ships of all shapes and sizes converged on their vessel. Bright flashes of light emanate from some, which Talon explained were greetings in various alien languages. "That ship over there," Talon pointed to a sleek silver vessel with wings that glowed a soft blue, "belongs to the Rari. They a species of great artists and philosophers. Their excitement stems from a deep-rooted belief that new species bring fresh perspectives and inspiration." Another ship, this one more organic in appearance, pulsated with a soft amber glow. "The Vorian," Talon continued. "They're one of the oldest races in the Federation. They value knowledge above all, and see the humans as a new chapter in their vast libraries." As the star bearer finally docked at the central space station, the ambassadors' eyes widened in awe. The sheer scale of the station dwarfed everything they had ever known. Towering spires, vast parks floating in zero gravity, and beings of various shape, sizes, and colors mingling and communicating. "It's overwhelming," whispered Dr. Helena, her historians, mindressing to capture every detail. The human delegates were ease-ed to their quarters. Grand rooms with walls that morphed to show serene landscapes from Earth. The stouch, added to make them feel at home, was deeply appreciated. Over the next few days, their schedules were packed. They attended diplomatic receptions, where they were introduced to leaders of various member species. At a more relaxed cultural exchange session, they shared Earth's music, art, and literature, while in return they experienced alien dances, holographic art, and then listened to melodies that resonated in frequencies beyond human comprehension. But not all interactions were smooth. At one dinner, an envoy from a species called the Kilt expressed skepticism about humanity's rapid technological growth hinting at potential dangers, however. Ambassador, they gracefully navigated the conversation, emphasizing Earth's desire for peaceful collaboration. The pinnacle of their visit was the assembly before the Galactic Federation. Council. The vast hall was unlike anything they had ever seen. Floating platforms held representatives of countless species, each tier giving a panoramic view of the center stage. Talon, who had been their guide and friend throughout this journey, took a moment to brief them. Remember, every species here once had their moment. Their introduction. Be true to yourselves. Be true to Earth. Admiral Lansing Chicento, speak on behalf of humanity, stepped forward. The hall quieted, countless eyes and another sensory organs focused on him. He felt a weight on his shoulders, a weight of representing an entire species, an entire world, members of the Galactic Federation. He began, his voice echoing across the vast chamber. We come in peace with a desire to learn, to share, and to be a part of this grand tapestry of civilizations. We bring with us our history, our dreams, our failures, and our hopes. We thank you for welcoming us, and we hope to contribute to the Federation's future. The hall erupted in a cacophony of sounds, applause, cheers, and other gestures of approval in myriad alien languages. As the assembly drew to a close, Lansing felt a hand on his shoulder. It was Talon. You did well, he said, his voice filled with pride. Welcome to the galaxy. The show had indeed begun, and Earth's role in this interstellar dance was just taking its first steps. Forgotten by Design Part 12, a tour of wonder. The galactic capital city wasn't like anything the human report. The fate of a species shaped by the Federation, and now standing on the precipice of the cosmos, lay in Thebalance as the chamber readied itself for the momentous vote. One thing was certain: the decision would shape the trajectory of galactic events for eons to come. Forgotten by Design Part 7, decision time. Light years away, in the bustling star system of Sagittarius, close to the galactic center of the Milky Way, the human situation had reached its climax. The cavernous council chamber of the Galactic Federation throbbed with expectation. Emissaries from countless star systems waited with bated breath, their collective attention on the grand holographic display. In the center, Earth in its blue and green splendor shimmered as the focal point. High above the council, Commander Z stood at a communicator console, deep in a secured conversation with Talon, who was currently aboard his V near the Earth's orbital space station. How are things proceeding on your end? Zyrex inquired. Better than expected, Talon replied. The humans have been gracious. They are curious, intelligent, and the range of their emotions astounds me. Every day there's a sense of hope and fear, a hope that the Federation will see their worth. Zyrex nodded. The Council is about to cast its vote. This decision could alter the course of their history. And in the central podium, the presiding officer, a tall ethereal being with shimmering skin, rose. Members of the Council, the hour of decision is upon us. We must weigh the potential of the humans against the potential risks they pose. Their creation was our doing, our responsibility. Now we must decide their fate. As the last echoes of the presiding officer's voice faded, a representative from the desert world of Syrian stood up, her colored robes flowing gracefully around her. I ask the Council to remember that the humans have made considerable leaps in a short span. Yes, their origin as warriors for our cause is known, but they've evolved, found love, culture, and aspirations. Do we not owe it to them to see their full potential? A counter-argument came swiftly from a tall tree-like representative from Verdant Prime. Yet that rapid evolution, their insatiable curiosity, it's a double-edged sword. Today they seek knowledge, tomorrow they might seek dominance. If we created them, is it not our prerogative to end the experiment if it's deemed dangerous? The chamber was filled with murmurs, nods, and whispers as more beings voiced their opinions. Each perspective carried weight, each argument filled with millennia of experiences from their home worlds. While the debate raged, Zyrex transmitted a secure message to Talon: prepare for any outcome, Commander. This is closer than I anticipated. Talon's response was filled with resolve. Understood. The humans know the gravity of the situation. They're ready. As the deliberations neared an end, the presiding officer called for silence. It is time. Cast your votes in the deep silence. Holographic beams of light shot up from the council members' stations, their colors indicating fire choices as each light beam reached the ceiling. A counter displayed the tally. The entire chamber held its breath, waiting. The final vote was cast and the result displayed. The decision to send an envoy to Earth to assess humanity's readiness for the Federation had passed, but by a razor-thin margin. Just one vote, a mixture of relief and trepidation, filled the chamber. The Syrian representative whispered to her, "Aid, this isn't an outright victory, but it's a start." Zyrex immediately connected with Talon. "Commander, the humans will have their chance. I'll inform Admiral Lansing. This is a new dawn for humanity," Talon responded. Little did they know that the challenges and opportunities awaiting both the Federation and humanity would be unlike any they had encountered before. Forgotten by Design Part 8. The Federation is coming at Genesis Station orbiting Earth. A meeting of immense significance was unfolding. Talon, with his oven features and poised stance, stood facing the vast expanse of stars, the blue-green jewel of Earth shimmering below. The news of the Galactic Federation's impending envoy had been relayed. This was a moment that will be etched in history. Admiral Lansing approached, his face reflecting a mix of elation and trepidation. "Commander Talon, humanity has been waiting for a day like this. Even if we didn't know it, the very skies are changing." Talon turned, nodding. "Indeed, Admiral, the Federation's representatives will be here in 3 Earth weeks." Lansing smiled, his eyes reflecting the enormity of the situation. "A reason to celebrate, wouldn't you say? But first," Talon responded, "there is much to prepare, and Earth's inhabitants must be informed. I've already contacted the United Nations Secretary General," Lansing mentioned, tapping his communicator. "She's on her way and wishes to speak with you directly. We're considering a global introduction to you and the incoming envoy from the station." Talon's eyebrows raised in surprise. "A live broadcast to your entire population? That's a bold move. Admiral, bold times call for bold measures." Lansing shrugged just as the airlock hissed open to admit the UN Secretary General and several global dignitaries. The grand reception hall of Genesis Station had been prepared for this very moment. Talon greeted them with the customary human handshake. The Secretary General, a steely-eyed middle-aged woman, was the first to engage. "Commander Talon, it's an honor. But before we address the world, I need to know our story from your perspective, particularly about Dr. Leon and the true origin of humans." Talon hesitated for a moment, gauging the room, then began. "Before the Federation war with the Kriller, humans did not exist in the form you recognize today. A distinguished scientist within the Federation, Dr. Leon, became fascinated by a primate species from one of our planets. He saw potential in them that went beyond their natural evolution." Every ear in the bay room hung on Talon's words, the weight of humanity's untold history pressing down. Using cutting-edge genetic manipulation, Dr. Leon transformed these primates. He elongated their limbs, expanded their brain capacity, and instilled within them a unique blend of traits: aggression, empathy, intelligence, and an unyielding curiosity. In essence, crafted beings that were both thinkers and warriors, a sentient weapon designed for the Federation to wield against the Kriller. After revelation about humanity's engineered origins, the Secretary General posed a question that seemed to hang in the air. "And the Kriller, Commander, what became of them?" Talon's expression hardened briefly, his gaze momentarily distant. "Humans, very exceptional when given objectives. Whether in the vast reaches of space aboard our ships or on ground battles, humanity was unparalleled. They demonstrated a remarkable ability to outthink their adversaries, count in and pivoting in strategies that even some of our brightest tacticians couldn't predict. Ultimately, humans became Thellenspin in our victory against the Kriller." The room remained silent, every person hanging on his every word, absorbing the gravity of humanity's role in a cosmic war. Talon sighed deeply. "However, once the war ended, a dilemma arose. Humanity had been so effective, so lethal, that their mere existence became a point of contention. Some factions within the Federation argued that humans with their science and demonstrate might should be granted recognition and a place among the stars. Others, fearing their potency, wanted them contained." He continued, "After heated deliberations, a compromise of sorts was reached. Humans were transported to Earth, a vibrant world teeming with life, and left to their own devices. Unmonitored, unsupervised, and essentially abandoned. That was tens of millennia ago, and here we are now conversing on your space station. Humanity's resilience and drive have brought them far. The room's atmosphere grew thick with the gravity of Talon's revelation. The Secretary General absorbed the information, her face unreadable. "Thank you, Commander. It's essential we understand our origins as we step onto the galactic stage." Taloni nodded, continuing with the briefing. "When the envoy arrives, they will assess Earth on various fronts: culture, technology, society, and importantly intentions. Your reception and cooperation will be crucial during this evaluation." The Secretary General responded with determination. "We'll rally our people, Commander." This revelation, while unsettling, provides us an opportunity tonight like never before. If we're to step out into the galaxy, we should do so together. Admiral Lansing added, "Well-ready, planning a global broadcast from Genesis Station when it airs. It will likely be the most watched event in human history." Talon paused, processing the weight of the situation. "Let me get approval from my commanding officer, but I believe he'll see the value in this." Meeting concluded. Genesis Station buzzed with renewed energy. Crew members bustled about, and preparations were underway on all fronts. The Galactic Federation was coming, and Earth was on the cusp of a new dawn. Lansing, gazing out at Earth, whispered, "This is our moment." Talon simply replied, "Let's hope humanity shines as brightly as that planet down there, forgotten by design." Part 9. The broadcast. The Grand House of Genesis Station had never witnessed such fervor. Technicians scurried around setting up broadcasting equipment, while a communication experts from various nations huddled in animated discussion. The plan was to simultaneous translation into every language on Earth, ensuring the coded message would be universally understood by everyone at the same time. Admiral Lansing, grappling with the situation, said, "We have one chance to do this right. Our message has to be unified and clear." The Secretary General, in deep contemplation, responded, "Transparency is key. We must be forthcoming about our limited knowledge, while emphasizing the potential of what's to come." Talon, who had been observing quietly, stepped forward. "If the issue is conveying the message across linguistic barriers, I have technology aboard my ship that can using shared knowledge and mutual growth. We are eager to learn from the vast expanse of the Galactic Federation's millennia-old history, just as we are keen to showcase what Earth has achieved in its comparatively short existence." The detailed framework of the program was projected onto a holographic screen for everyone to view. It outlined joint ventures in various fields: medicine, engineering, arts, and more. There was a particular emphasis on ensuring that the exchange was bidirectional, printing shared learning and mutual respect. Several council members voiced their support, with a few raising constructive queries. It was evident that while they were curious and enthusiastic about this collaboration, they also wanted to ensure its smooth and efficient implementation. Admiral Lansing, sensing the pivotal nature of this moment, decided to personally communicate with Earth about the developments using the Federation's Sadvan communication system. He sent a detailed report back home. The message began to the leaders and people of Earth. "I am elated to convey the promising progress we've made." He wrote about the positive perception of their historical presentation, the establishment of the exchange program, and the potential benefits this could bring to humanity. Lansing expressed his hope that Earth will see a rapid and transformative inflow of knowledge and technology, potentially catapulting human civilization to new heights on Earth. The reception of this message was nothing short of ecstatic. The head of the extraterrestrial exchange program, Drullinor Cassidy, after reading Lansing's update, immediately convened a meeting with global leaders and experts. There was unanimous agreement. They needed to prepare, and they needed to do so fast. Labs, cultural centers, and universities were informed. Workshops were devised, and an entire infrastructure was set in motion. Sure, Earth was ready for this unprecedented exchange. Back at the Federation's capital, as Lansing and Philia walked through the vast corridors reflecting on the day's events, the Admiral sighed. "In contentment, we're making history there," he remarked. Tia nodded, her gaze fixed on the horizon, where stars shimmered with endless possibilities. "Indeed, Admiral, and This is just the beginning, planning in the sweeping azure chambers of the Federation's main educational complex. The human ambassadors gathered, their faces a mix of anticipation and wonder. This was the first of many sessions they would attend to understand the nuances of the upcoming exchange program. Jeune, a brilliant Federation scientist with a sleek silver form and multiple articulate appendages, initiated orientation. Welcome, esteemed representatives of Earth. His voice boomed in a serene yet authoritative tone. Today marks the beginning of our journey towards mutual enlightenment. The first session revolved around technology. Holographic displays showcased marvels Federation had achieved: anti-gravitational systems, quantum computing, networks, and bioregenerative Vedic devices that could heal without a trace. While all the ambassadors marveled at these achievements, some with backgrounds in technology and science seemed particularly engrossed. Ambassador Mia Anduyan, with a background in aerospace engineering, raised a query. The anti-gravitational systems, Yushauka said, could they be adapted to Earth-specific gravitational pull and atmospheric conditions? Jeune tilted his head thoughtfully. It's a valid consideration. Through our exchange, we aim to modify and adapt our technologies to suit Earth's environment. Collaboration will be key. Subsequent sessions revolve around arts, culture, and philosophy. Earth's ambassadors were introduced to alien art forms, some of which challenged the very perception of senses. There were symphonies of color that resonated as sound, abstract art that invoked emotions through telepathy, and philosophical teachings that transcended the limits of time and matter. As engrossing as the sessions were, what truly captivated the Earth representatives was the mutual interest and respect shown by the Federation races. Many were genuinely intrigued by Earth's history, its challenges, its successes, and their resilience of humanity. One of the notable expressions of this curiosity came during a session on biological advance, as Earth's data on recent breakthroughs in human DNA manipulation was presented. A sudden buzz filled the room. Many Federation members leaned forward, their varied eyes, sensors, or perception organs fixated on the presented data. It was Varric, a representative from a race known for its biotechnological prowess, who voiced the sentiment echoing in the chamber. Humanity's strides in genetic advancement are commendable. The potential applications, especially in healing and adaptability, could benefit not just Earth, but many Federation races. We are eager to delve deeper into these days filled with fervent discussions and brainstorming. Sessions soon followed, ideas flowed, partnerships formed, and it was clear that the upcoming exchange program would not be a mere formality. It promised transformative growth for Alinvolve. As the orientation neared its conclusion, Ambassador Thilia took a moment to address the gathering. We stand at the precipice of a new era, she began, her voice filled with emotion. An era where Earth not only learns, but tributes. We're grateful for this opportunity and excited for what the future holds. As the human delegation left the complex, they carried with them not just newfound knowledge, but also a profound sense of belonging to a larger, more intricate tapestry of life in the galaxy. Lingering shadows, the vastness of the Galactic Federation capital's marketplace was like none other. Admiral Lansing had seen stalls, floated sellers communicated in countless languages and products from across galaxies, glowed, hummed, or even danced. Yet amidst this mesmerizing cacophony, Lansing was on a singular mission: to find a semblance of clarity about the fleeting image he'd seen days ago. As he wandered through the marketplace's maze, Lansing looked for anything familiar, a hairstyle, an outfit, or even the way someone moved, but the child's face had been but a brief flash in his memory. He began approaching vendors, showing them a sketch he had drawn of a human child hoping against hope for some form of recognition. A vendor selling radiant fabrics from the Orion arms stared at the sketch, her eyes a kaleidoscope of colors, narrowing in concentration. No, she finally uttered, her voice a melodic chime. I haven't seen this being. He received similar responses everywhere he went. An entity with flowing liquid form said he had never seen a human child, while a vendor with feather-like tendrils gently shook its head, its voice echoing like distant thunder. Such a creature has never passed my stall. The suns began to set, casting long shadows over the Marketplace in Lansing's hope started to dwindle. Maybe he had imagined it after all. Thief Federation's vastness was dizzying. It was possible that amidst the sensory overload his mind had played a trick on him, a longing for home, perhaps manifesting as a vision of humanity amidst the alien. With a heavy sigh, Lansing decided it was time to head back. He had a duty, and these distractions, no matter how personal, could not interfere with Earth's representation in the Federation. As he left, lost in thought, he remained unaware of the figure that watched from an alley shadow cloaked in darkness. Only the being's eyes were visible, reflecting the ambient light of the setting suns. The entity observed Lansing until he was out of sight. Its intentions and identity crowed in enigma. Back at the Federation Council quarters, Lansing tried to shake off the nagging feeling, but the weight of the Nensward question, the shadow of that fleeting glimpse, would linger in the back of his mind, beckoning him to uncover the truth behind the enigma. Forgotten by Design Part 14. An unexpected visitor. The council quarters provided to Admiral Lansing were nothing short of luxurious, decorated with sophisticated art from different parts of the galaxy and furnished with intricately designed pieces. It was a space fit for a dignitary. However, the fineries did little to put Lansing at ease. As he sat on the plush seat by the window, he gazed out into the alien skyline, a dance of colors and movements light years away from home. The glow from foreign stars and the gentle hum of the floating city outside should have been soothing, but Lansing's thoughts were plagued by the fleeting image of the child in the market, an apparition that didn't fit into the vast cosmic puzzle he was piecing together. His fingers drummed on the armrest, tapping out the rhythm of his racing heartbeat. The ikoof, a soft knock, broke his train of thought. It was an odd hour for visitors, and he wasn't expecting anyone. A little eager, he approached the door, and using the visual panel saw the silhouette of a figure. He recognized it was Councilor Ziern, one of the most esteemed members of the Galactic Federation Council. His slender form and the elongated features denoted grace and wisdom, with a hint of surprise. Lansing activated the door mechanism. Councilor Ziern, he greeted, his voice measured. "I wasn't expecting you to. What do I owe this late visit?" Ziern's usual stoic face held a gravitas that seemed even more profound tonight. "Admiral Lansing," he began, his voice gentle, yet holding a gravity that underscored the urgency of his visit. "I apologize for the unexpected intrusion, but there is a matter of great sensitivity that I need to discuss with you. May I?" Understanding the seriousness of the situation, Lansing immediately gestured for him to come in. His military instincts sensing the weight of the upcoming conversation. "Of course, please," he replied, guiding the counselor to a sitting area. Ziern took a seat. The ambient lights in the room dimmed slightly, adapting to the preferences of its current occupants. The atmosphere grew even more intimate, with only the distant lights off floating city providing a soft glow. Ziern took a moment collecting his thoughts. "I understand." The primate's limbs increased the size of its brain and infused it with a cocktail of traits: aggression, empathy, intelligence, and insatiable curiosity. He crafted a being that was both a thinker and a warrior, a sentient weapon for the Federation to wield against the Krill. Earthy reactions were mixed. Some faces showed fascination, others disbelief, and a few outright denial. "You're implying," Lansing started, voice heavy with skepticism, "that we're lab experiments?" Talon nodded. "Once Dr. Leon's creation was introduced to Thebat Leafield, the tide of war shifted. The Kriller had never faced an adversary like the humans. You carried out objectives with unparalleled precision and commitment. The Federation would set a goal, and the human battalions executed it without need for further intervention. So we were tools." Lansing's voice was cold, used and then discarded in a manner of speaking. Talon admitted, hesitating slightly. "After the war, there was a dilemma. The humans designed for a war that was now over posed a quandary for the Federation. The decision was made to relocate all humans to Earth." A murmur swept the chamber. The weight of Talon's revelation was beginning to sink in. "Earth is a reservation planet," Talon added softly. "It's off limits to all in the Federation, save for a select few watchers like me." The room erupted in hushed conversations. Whispers of anger, disbelief, and shock filled the chamber. Lansing, after a moment of reflection, took charge. "This changes everything. Our very origin Our history, it's all been orchestrated, Talon nodded solemnly, but it also underscores the marvel that is humanity, despite your origins. You've developed culture, societies, arts, sciences. You've grown beyond the confines of your design. The woman with high-ranking uniform stood up. We may have begun as creations of war, but look at us, now our heritage doesn't define user choices. Lansing nodded, and our choice is clear. We will face the Galactic Federation, not as remnants of a past war, but as the unified representation of Earth's legacy. Talon felt a mixture of pride and guilt. The human's ability to confront such unsettling truths and still find resolve was astounding. It was evident that Earth, no longer a mere observation, was ready to assert its place in the cosmos. In revealing their past, Talon had ignited a spark that promised to blaze brightly, heralding humanity's spirit and its unwavering determination to shape its destiny. Forgotten by Design. Part 5. The rhythmic hum of the Genesis station faded into the background as Talon's communication disc vibrated softly. He glanced at the incoming transmission identifier. It was a secured channel from the Galactic Federation Command Center. Admiral Lansing, he began, his avian features revealing a hint of unease. I must return to my vessel to attend to this transmission, I assure you. It's of the utmost importance. Lansing, eyes sharp, regarded him for a moment. Very well, Commander Talon. Lieutenant Caro will escort you. He gestured to a stern-looking officer. But the entryway's open. We must ensure transparency. Talon nodded, understanding the gravity of trust being placed in him as he followed Lieutenant Kara towards the docking bay. The looming silhouette of his sleek spacecraft came into view. Kara's eyes widened, clearly taken aback by its advanced design and shimmering exterior. That's an impressive ship, she murmured, a hint of awe evident in her voice, acknowledging the compliment with a nod. Talon stepped into his spacecraft, leaving the door ajar. As stipulated, sling into the captain's chair, he activated the comlink. Commander Xerx's holographic image blinked to life. His scales glistened under the artificial lighting, and his reptilian eyes conveyed a of concern and annoyance. Tali, what in 7 stars have you done? This was a covert observation mission. You've gone and gotten yourself detained. Talon sighed, gripping the armrests of his chair. Have you seen my report, Commander? Humans have evolved remarkably. Their development, their society, their innovations, they're unlike anything we predicted. Zix hissed, our objectives never change. Hastily, you've overstepped it, and now we're facing potential pole fallout. Tell me you didn't reveal everything. Talon hesitated for a split second. I might have shared certain details about their creation and our roles. His scales flushed a darker his irritation evident by the cosmos. Talon, what possessed you now? I have to explain this debacle to the council. Listen, Commander. Talon interjected, a sense of urgency in his tone. Given the humans' technological advancements, they are on the cusp of interstellar travel. It's inevitable they'll cross paths with other civilizations. It's better if we control the narrative and guide them. Zix paused, contemplating Talon's words. So you're suggesting we shift from observers to mentors? Talon nodded. Exactly. Instead of treating this as a crisis, we could pivot to a diplomatic mission. Send an envoy, may back it up with a couple of battleships as a show of strength, and we negotiate. The reptilian commander seemed to consider this, his cold gaze fixed on Talon. You believe this can be salvaged diplomatically? Yes. Talon asserted. They may have initially been a product of our creation, but they've grown, evolved. They have a society, a culture. They deserve assay in their future. Among the stars, after what seemed like an eternity, Xerx responded, very well. You've always approached challenges uniquely, Talon. I'll talk to the council. Sit tight, and let's hope your faith in these humans is not misplaced. As the transmission ended, Talon leaned back, exhaling deeply. He'd secured a chance, however slim, for humanity to play an active role in their cosmic journey. Outside the spacecraft, Lieutenant Kara had been observing, her keen senses picking up on the tension of the conversation. Even if the words were lost to her as Talon emerged, she inquired, everything okay? Talon managed a weary smile. It's a start, Lieutenant. A complicated, delicate start. Together, they made their way back to Lansing, the weight of the galaxy on their shoulders, but hope in their hearts. Forgotten by design. Part 6. The human situation, light years away in the bustling Star system of Sagittarius A, near the center of the Milky Way. The human situation had rapidly ascended to become the top priority. For the Galactic Council, the cavernous council chamber, pulsed with undercurrent tension. Members of the Galactic Federation's council representing diverse species from various star systems filled the auditorium there. Collective attention on the grand holographic display in the center. Earth in its blue and green splendor was the focal point. Commander Xyrix, tall and composed, was at the center of this gathering. By his side, the holographic interface showed the initial pages of Talon's recent and abruptly halted report. The matter at hand. Xyrix began commanding silence concerns. The humans of Earth, all eyes were on him. While most of the council was familiar with humanity's existence, not everyone was privy to their intricate details or the reasons for this sudden assembly. However, some who had access to previous reports followed humanity's progress with keen interest. The recent detainment of Commander Talon on Earth has precipitated this gathering. Xyrix continued, the screen showcasing the footage of Talon's ship approaching Earth and subsequent events. A council member representing the granite-skinned inhabitants of Gorgona Prime rumbled, "The in their infancy with power, they scarcely understand another from the crystalline species of Zert Prime. Refracted light in agreement, once tools of warfare, and now this to reintroduce them to the cosmos fraught with peril." Xyrix took a moment, then activated the interface to display snippets from Talon's unfinished report. Clips varied from humans engaged in conflict to moments of compassion, innovation, and profound scientific breakthroughs. "Thespins," Xyrix intoned, "born of our intent, but evolved beyond our design. They demonstrate aggression, yes, but also empathy, intelligence, and an insatiable curiosity attributes they hunted themselves." The chamber grew quiet. An elder council member, a figure of immense age and wisdom, and part of one of the longest living species in the Federation, slowly rose. "I remember when the seeds of their creation were sown." He began, his voice echoing memories of bygone eras, but the fabric of their society, their culture and dreams. "It's a testament to nature's unpredictable, but can we trust them?" Another council member challenged the distrust evident. "They've detained 104 own. What prevents them from taking a more aggressive stance?" Xyrix, choosing his words meticulously, replied, "Their potential is clear. Their advancements indicate they are on the brink of interstellar travel. We can either welcome them as potential allies or brace for uncertainty." Discussions filled the room, a cacophony of differing opinions and perspectives. Every species, every representative grappled with the magnitude of the decision before them. The head of the council, a radiant being of pure energy, signaled for silence. "Our path is not clear-cut. We shall convene a vote on humanity's fate." Xyrix cast a final look at the incomplete